Anyone who uses Ozempic looks fantastic.
I'm going to tell you that on average, people who take Ozempic look worse than people who take it. Why? Because if you're on Ozempic, you're probably fat.
For 25 years, making fun of my weight was national sport.
Full stop. This goes so far back. I did this performance in high school. I impersonated Michael Jackson, did the dance, and did the Michael Jackson Oprah Winfrey interview. And I did it as Michael Jackson in his voice. He said, "You're fat, you're thin, pick a weight and go with it." And looking back, this has aged very well. Remember, this was over 30 years ago. The problem is Oprah gets fat, she gets thin, she gets fat, she gets thin, and she now believes it's because she has a disease. But here's the thing. She thinks that because she has this disease, of which it's debatable, she believes there's nothing she can do about it. That no matter what, she's destined to be obese for the rest of her life. But I'm here to tell her, you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm going to explain exactly why. By the end of the video, you're going to be on Coach Greg's side. I already know you are. I can foresee the future. And so we need to stop disempowering the public who are looking for that special answer. Oh, it's not your fault. Don't try to bring about change. Just be fat for the rest of your life. Or take this drug. This GLP-1, the Ozempic. If you take that, then you lose all the weight and then you'll be beautiful, right? Wrong.
After losing 67 pounds on a liquid diet, the next day, y'all, the very next day, I started to gain it back.
Of course you did. You went on a starvation diet, had nothing but liquids for 5 or 6 months, and then the day after you stopped that diet and ate a calorie surplus, you started to gain the weight back. Shocker!
Now women across the country are taking to social media saying the special gave them more confidence to speak out about taking medication to lose weight.
And so what that Oprah Winfrey special did is now everyone is proud of taking medications. Hey, it's not all our faults. We need a drug. We need to take this drug to lose weight. I mean, we can't just go out and exercise and eat healthy. We need a drug. That's the answer. There's no shame in it. Let's all do drugs. Yay! Remember when I was a kid growing up, they used to say, don't do drugs. Just say no. Nowadays, let's just love our bodies for what it's worth and take drugs to combat our obesity.
Both Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Hostin told America they have used weight loss medication to shed pounds.
Hey, everyone's doing it. Let's all use drugs. Yet if I say I'm on HRT, oh my goodness. But Oprah Winfrey and all her celebrity friends, oh, obesity's a disease. We need this drug because we can't lose weight. It's impossible. You could never keep it off.
I have a similar story, during Cook, 40 pounds.
And so if it really was a disease, why did this disease not come through while she was stuck in her house not exercising? Perhaps eating chips from the pantry. And so really think of it. During that time period when you couldn't exercise effectively, the gyms were shut down, she gained those 40 pounds. Could it be from lack of exercise and overeating, or is it just because of some genetic disorder?
And so I also took Manjaro. I feel better. I think I look better. And that's what this is about for people.
So people are going to see this video and say, obesity, it's a disease. I can't do anything about it. I mean, after all, I've tried everything. I mean, I for sure have Coach Greg's cookbooks. I've absolutely read his Circle Diet book, and I still can't lose weight. Wrong, of course you can. I don't believe you. Anyone who's read my book, has my cookbook, knows you can lose weight. And if you are interested, remember, get to my website, CoGreg, 15% off. Stop being an idiot.
For the first time, I got when they said obesity is a disease. Obesity is a disease.
Full stop. Or is it?
It is not a disease for everybody who's overweight. It is a disease if you carry the gene or the propensity for the adipose gene, which is the fat gene.
And so just because you carry the so-called fat gene, does that mean you're going to be overweight and or obese for the rest of your life? I assure you not. In the same way that just because you have the gene for alcoholism doesn't mean you're going to be an alcoholic. And so do you know how harmful this is to think, oh, I have a disease. It is with me for the rest of my life. There's nothing I'll ever do about it.
So not everybody who overdrinks is an alcoholic. But if you have the gene for it, you develop alcoholism.
And so, no, just because you have the gene for it doesn't mean you develop alcoholism. You might never drink. It's partially genetic and partially environmental. These influences go hand in hand. It's never one or the other. If you have great genetics for building muscle, but you never go to the gym and you don't consume enough protein, you're not going to develop a jacked physique.
Not everybody who eats a lot and shows up with extra weight has that gene or carries that propensity. But because it's a big spectrum.
And of course, everything is on a spectrum. Some people are more likely to be obese than others. For example, Brentley got to 574 pounds. But do you notice one thing about Brentley? He's lost over 200 pounds. And why is that? Because calories in, calories out. Regardless of your genetics, you can do something about it. Every human on this earth can, in fact, lose weight. Just like every alcoholic can, in fact, stop drinking.
But if you do carry it, you will always put the weight back on.
Wrong. This is a complete lie. Bullshit, Oprah. How freaking dare you say this? How can you say something that is so far inaccurate? Is it just because you want to make yourself feel better? Oh, people have made fun of me my entire life. It's a national sport, and so I now feel vindicated. I suffer from obesity. The gene prevents me from keeping the weight off. No, it doesn't. What prevents you from keeping the weight off is you eating in a surplus. That liquid diet that was effective, if you had stayed on it, you would have continued to lose weight. Notice you walk 3 or 5 miles a day. What if you ran 10 miles a day? What if you biked as hard as Coach Greg? Eventually, you'd find a way. If it's not through increased cardio, you could in fact hire the best chefs in the world. You're so rich, Oprah, you could even afford Coach Greg's cookbook. You could even hire me as your own coach. But I can't lose weight because I have the obesity gene. No matter what, if I lose the weight, I'm going to regain it. This is nonsense, Oprah. And you know what you need to do is you need to pick a weight and go with it, as I stated in high school over 30 years ago. Think of it. You go from being obese to skinny. Obese to skinny. Can we go somewhere in the middle? Remember when I said, close your eyes, imagine your dream physique? Open them. You're not getting it. Halfway there. If you needed to lose 100 pounds, lose 50 and maintain. It's so much healthier, but what you're doing is yo-yo dieting year after year. And with each successive diet, you lose a bit more muscle and it slows your metabolism. Why not just maintain at a healthy body weight? Perhaps it's 160 pounds, perhaps it's 170, perhaps 140. I don't know. But what I do know is it's more healthy to maintain a healthy weight year-round than it is to become obese and get skinny and obese and get skinny year after year for decades.
Losing the weight, gaining it back. And what I realized when I listened to what the doctor said, you are always going to put it back on, and it's like holding your breath underwater.
No, you're not always going to put it back on, and it's not like holding your breath. If I hold my breath underwater, I sink. Oprah, sink to the bottom of the pool. And so what I have to do to float is I have to swim. I have to struggle. I'm treading water. I'm kicking my feet. I'm fighting to get to the top. Why? Because my body's very dense. It sinks. Unlike people who are overweight, fat floats, muscle sinks. It's due to the density of those tissues. What that means is I have to work harder. For me to swim, it's harder. And for you, Oprah, for you to lose weight, it's harder for you because of your genetics, because you have less muscle, because you don't do cardio harder than last time. But if you perhaps switch from being a walking or runner, perhaps you bike rode, you perhaps did more hours of cardio. That's right, hours, 150 minutes, that's the minimum. That's for everyone. But if you're struggling with obesity, perhaps you have the obesity gene, why not do more? What's wrong with doing an hour of cardio a day? Why not 90 minutes a day? Is that bad? Is there something wrong with doing more? Why are we all trying to do the minimum? Oh, I can't lose the weight, and I've tracked my steps. I've done 10,000 steps a day. I can't lose weight. And it's game over. Try doing 12,000, 15,000. Try eating lower calorie dense foods. Try getting my frigging cookbook. Learn about eating lower calorie foods, more fiber, higher protein. Do you really think it's impossible?
What does she do? Ozempic. Does she look fantastic? Of course she does. Anyone who uses Ozempic looks fantastic.
I mean, you think I make this shit up. Anyone who uses Ozempic looks fantastic. Really, I'm going to argue with you that the majority of people using Ozempic don't look good in comparison to people who don't. If we took two groups of people, this group of people are on Ozempic and this group is not, I'm going to tell you that on average, people who take Ozempic look worse than people who take it. Why? Because if you're on Ozempic, you're probably fat. You know what Ozempic does? It makes you lose a lot of weight. And you know what else it does? It makes you lose a lot of muscle. Not just fat, but muscle. Nearly half of it is muscle. And so if you lose 50 pounds, I lost 50 pounds. What if 25 pounds of that was muscle? Is it still worth it? I don't think so.
They have spent the last 10 years developing a pill that may offer the same benefits as exercise, but for the people who can't exercise. So this means people who have a disability, an illness, or who are too old, for example.
What is she talking about? She just said that they're designing this pill for people who can exercise. And you know who she lists? People with a disability, an illness, or who are old. Raise your hand if you're offended by this. Now remember, I'm not trying to cancel this woman, but I am trying to correct her. If you have a disability, for example, you're missing an arm, a leg, perhaps you have a disease, does not mean you can't exercise. If you're in a wheelchair, do you really think you can exercise? I've seen wheelchair athletes at the Arnold Classic, bigger arms than Coach Greg. And you can still do cardio. They have wheels for people in wheelchairs. You can wheel your own wheelchair. They have wheelchair Olympics. Oh, if you have a disability, you can't exercise. And oh my goodness, if you're old, you can't exercise. What nonsense is that? It's even more important exercise if, in fact, you're old. Think of it. Do you really believe that you just get old and you lay down in your couch in bed and do nothing? Remember the saying, you use it or lose it? If you get older and you stop exercising, you are going to age faster than last time. Oftentimes people say, Coach Greg, why do you look so good? You actually look better in person. You look young. Didn't you abuse steroids? Yes, I did. But remember, I'm exercising and I'm eating healthy and I look younger than the freaking last time. 48 years old, most people think I look far younger. And so despite years of abuse, despite all of that, I'm still looking young. I still feel healthy. What do I owe to that? I do believe it's exercise.
Well, it increases your heart rate. Well, it causes you to sweat. It's okay for someone that's stuck in a wheelchair and can't do it otherwise, but what about the totality of the experience?
What is going on right now? People think that if you're in a wheelchair, you can't exercise, you can't sweat. This is a blasphemy. This is ridiculous. I mean, I can't believe I'm being subject to this. But no, let's cancel Coach Greg. He says such horrible things. Have I ever said that if you have a disability, you can't exercise? Have I ever said that just because you're obese, you have to give up? People, wake up! You don't need Ozempic, but what you do need to do is to eat healthy and do cardio. And that's for everyone. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. Move your body.
The process of exercising, especially cardiovascular, and increasing your heart rate and building up a sweat, decreases hunger in the brain.
And so did you not know this? When you in fact exercise overall, you get hungrier. You're thinking, no, when I go and burn off 1,000 calories, it makes me want to eat more. Yes, but only by approximately half. And so if you, for example, go and burn off 1,000 calories in a bike race, like Coach Greg or Editor Steve will do, you perhaps want to eat half of those calories back. And so think of it. If you burn off 1,000 calories and you eat 500 calories back, what is the net result? A 500 calorie deficit. If you do that every day, 7 days a week, you're going to lose 1 pound of fat a week. And you still think that cardio is not the answer, the secret, the magic pill that you want? Or do you think that it's Ozempic? Yeah, you can shoot yourself up with Ozempic. You can shoot yourself up with a GLP-1. But what you should be doing is taking the magic pill known as exercise. Couple that with a healthy diet, for example, eating recipes from my freaking cookbook. Not every single meal. All I need is one meal a day. Think of it. Replace those lasagnas, that ice cream, those wraps, whatever. Replace it with this for perhaps half the calories, and you will feel satisfied while still having all delicious foods that you enjoy. And so interested in my cookbook or any of my supplements, for example, GO2 Max, we also have Fat Burners, Acti Builder, Turk Builder, and a variety of other supplements. For example, Delta Sleep to help you sleep. We also have pre-workouts, both stim, non-stim, pump, pre-pump, creatine, beta-alanine. Get over to the website. Code Greg, 15% off. click the link in the description. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Oprah, you got it wrong. Sorry to break your bubble. Don't forget to watch one of those 2 bloops, and of course, the coaching plans by me and my team, the cookbooks, the training books, the Circle diet book. You can get everything on my website. If you have no money, get the free diet and training program. It's close to 50 pages. You absolutely need this. Also, if you would become one of the 300,000 plus newsletter subscribers, please don't hesitate. Head over to my website. And until next time, I am out.